So the Galaxy S23 Ultra has basically been the king of smartphones, as I mentioned in my prior video, but the iPhone 14 Pro might be a more popular option and the choice a lot of people choose over that device, specifically the iPhone 14 Pro Max, I believe. But I want to compare the S23 Ultra to the standard iPhone 14 Pro in the speed test comparison, and the reason why is that actually it's the same money to get an S23 Ultra as the iPhone 14 Pro, not the 14 Pro Max, the iPhone 14 Pro. And the S23 Ultra right now is on Amazon for $9.99. That's the exact same price as the iPhone 14 Pro. So these are your options here if you want to spend the same exact money. You're going to spend more because you never really get discounts on an iPhone 14 Pro Max unless you're looking at certain very rare carrier deals, or if somebody is selling one used or they picked one up and you found it online somewhere at a cheaper price point. But the iPhone 14 Pro did turn on faster by a hair over the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. And to prove what I'm talking about here, take a look. Galaxy S23 Ultra, as of the recording of this video anyway, is going for $9.99. If you do a trade-in on Samsung's website, you'll get that for significantly cheaper. Same with Apple's website as well. They do trade-ins as well, but you can see the iPhone 14 Pro here retailing on Amazon for $1,099. It's actually $100 more for a phone that is smaller. So, you know, if you're looking to spend $1,000 right now on a phone, or if that's the range you're in, the iPhone 14 Pro is your Apple option. You're going to go well over $1,200 likely to get yourself the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Now, when it comes to unlocking the phone, you can see with the Galaxy S23 Ultra, we can simply just look at the phone and it goes right in. Very nice. Also, you do have the in-display ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, which again, if you know where it's at, you don't even have to unlock the screen. You can just basically tap it like that. So the S23 Ultra actually unlocks and gets into the phone faster. And does that matter? Absolutely it does, because, you know, with this phone right here, yes, it's incredibly quick and very good on the different angles of unlocking, you know, into iOS. But it doesn't have a fingerprint sensor, and you have to look at it. I can't grab the 14 Pro like this and unlock it. Whereas with this, I could actually just be pulling it out of my pocket and kind of, if I know where it's at. See, if you don't know where it's at, you can miss. But if I know where it's at, I could already be in the phone very quickly. So in terms of speed and getting into the phone, the S23 Ultra is faster. Now, generally speaking, the software on the Galaxy S23 Ultra, incredibly smooth day-to-day. Whether you have a theme like I have on it or not, this phone is very smooth to just kind of scroll through and operate. This is something that's a departure from Samsung phones of the past. I've been blown away with the S23 Ultra finally bringing me to that level of smooth that I expect from something like an iPhone. Really making it a great alternative option if you're bored of using iPhone this year. But the iPhone 14 Pro, incredibly smooth as well. The iOS software is just always butter. Yes, there is bugs and stuff like that, but in terms of just slick and smooth polish, it's just been there. The app library, definitely quite smooth as well. It could be boring to some people, but overall, I gotta say, the iOS experience just very smooth and reliable with that ProMotion display coupled with the A16 Bionic and Apple's, you know, control over hardware and software. It really does show its stuff. Now, the Galaxy S23 Ultra does have the adaptive refresh, as does this one. So both of them quite close, even though you're going to pay a little more for an iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max. All right, so here we are at the application portion of this speed test. You can see everything closed out for both phones. Let's go ahead and go into calendar. You could see that looked faster on the right. We'll go into calculator. That might have been the right. Let's go into clock. That one was the left. Weather. That one was Samsung for sure. Let's head up out of here. We'll go into Instagram. And that one looked like it was maybe the Samsung. You know, if I'm wrong on any of these, let me know, because when we get to these type of phones, they're so darn fast. Sometimes I could miss it by a slight difference. Let's go into App Store, Play Store. You could see that's faster for the Galaxy S23 Ultra. Swiping out. Take a look at that swipe. They're both incredibly quick. You can see right there on the right. We'll go over here to Profile. iOS 17 Beta 2 did launch yesterday. If you are in the beta, if you're using beta, it's developer beta right now, so it's not for the public. But this one wasn't actually ready for the Samsung Let me go ahead and do that one more time since we weren't in there. Let's go into Groupon. So see the Samsung is faster there. We'll go into categories and we'll go into things to do and you'll see about the same. Now, when you're actually in application, they actually look a little bit different. When scrolling, you can see the Samsung just flies through. I know nobody scrolls like that, but even when you're scrolling, it just looks a little bit different on both of them. Let's go into the next one, which is Amazon. Amazon Prime Day coming up soon. Let's go into a Starbucks. And you can see that looks faster on the Samsung. Best Buy. Man, it's no longer the days where you can say that your iPhone is faster than Samsung. It's just not really there. Let's go into products. And we'll go into computers and tablets. Pretty much equal. Let's go into eBay here. And that one's to the Samsung device. We'll head up out of there. And we'll go into Dead Trigger 2. See how we perform here. Back it out just a little bit. And looks like we have almost an even performance on the load there. And looks like the Samsung a little bit quicker here. Let me go ahead and turn the volume down on that one. And overall, you know, you can pay less money and you can get this. You can get this for gaming. Or you can pay more money or about the same and you can get this little screen for money. You really have to decide what's the better value for you. Let's go ahead and go into Asphalt 9 here on both phones. Game Loft, much larger looking there on the left. And you'll see, looks like the Samsung in there first. Let's go ahead and X that out. Hit play on this guy. So yeah, this is taking a little bit longer than expected on the iPhone 14 Pro. This one might be running an update. If it doesn't come soon, yeah, it was taking quite some time. What I want to do is just to ensure that that wasn't an update running, as I'm going to close these and run these one more time. Let's go into Asphalt 9, just to ensure that that's an accurate test. Now, if this pops open fast, yeah, see, that was more accurate. The iPhone still behind, but not by a lot. Let's go into Call of Duty on both. And I can tell you right now, for gaming, I would easily pick the S23 Ultra. Has better sustained performance with the GPU. In addition to that, it's a much larger screen and it's cheaper than the iPhone 14 Pro. I mean, this is a lose if you're trying to get it for gaming. If you want it for iMessage, FaceTime, and all of the Apple stuff, well, of course, it's a win. But in terms of gaming, this will be a much better win. Even Dynamic Island gets in the way a little bit too much for me when it comes to full screen gaming. Let's go into Temple Run 2. But in terms of gaming, if you want the best gaming phone, that's probably going to be a ROG phone or something like that. You could see Temple Run 2. We'll hit play. Pretty much the same here. But again, every single game, I don't care which one it is, when we're comparing these two phones, I think is going to be a little bit more of an enjoyable experience. S23 Ultra faster on the left. Dude, I'm telling you right now. In reality, you might benchmark faster Apple, but the S23 Ultra feels like the faster phone here. And bang, yep. So we'll see what Apple comes back with here this year with the iPhone 15 Pro. I'm excited. I don't know if you guys are, but I'm definitely excited for the 15 series to see what they do with the A17 Bionic. And I can't wait to run a speed test with that one because, you know, every time Samsung takes the lead, you know Apple's got to come back swinging. Let's go to 3D Mark. They're always going to try to one-up the competition when it comes to the chipset, and especially considering that this year, you know, Samsung is finally starting to catch up in their performance area to Apple, which is something they've had a stronghold on. This Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 2 for Galaxy chip has been really good, very, very good. So let's just go ahead and click something in here. You'll see about the same. So overall, I would say the performance was pretty close. The Samsung feels faster, not only in applications, but just definitely has a faster scrolling feel. You know, it just overall feels snappier. The iPhone 14 Pro, though, I would argue feels a little bit more smooth. It's got a little smooth feel to it. Now, some people say you can go into the developer options of the Samsung, throw it on the 1.5X, and can make it a little bit smoother. You can do that, but I like to leave it the way it is out the box, and this is how we tested them here. So let's go ahead and pop back through these applications. 12 gigs of RAM on the left, and on the right, we do have ourselves 6 gigs of RAM. Now, I am on iOS 17 Beta 2 there on the iPhone, but that definitely doesn't make any difference here because all these applications don't run any different in speed to the iOS 16.5. There's no delays with them opening and anything like that, so that's why I still compared it here. Now, if we were doing, now if there was a bunch of bugs, in these applications, I wouldn't have tested them, but I could tell you I've already checked them out. They all run snappy and fast, just like they did on 16.5. We'll go into eBay and Best Buy, and these results are quite similar to the ones I seen on the 14 Pro Max versus the S23 Ultra speed test I did a while back. And you could see no major issues at all on either. Samsung on their weather has the ads in it and stuff, so it definitely loads a little bit more. And calendar. Yeah, so no reloads on either phone. Even though this has 6 gigs of RAM, Apple does this thing where, they keep things very smooth, even in the background. Even if it's a screenshot image, you just, it's not always that. But even if it is, it still always looks like it's holding applications all the time. Whereas the Samsung definitely could take more advantage with its app's edges, with its multitasking. It could take more advantage of that RAM that it has available, but it definitely holds everything, and there was no chop, no stutter, no delays. Like I used to see in some of my Samsung speed tests where an app would just like flutter and do some weird stuff. So very good performance on both here, RAM management. All right, so let's go ahead and test the cameras on both devices. Now, I do have this theme on here, which I will share down below in the description. I had this theme on my last video as well. But we're going to go ahead and click camera on both in 3, 2, go. And that looked like the iPhone, but I did have the front facing fired up as the last remembered location. Let's go ahead and do that again. 3, 2, go. Samsung there. Now in this respect, this might be related to iOS 17. Let's go into camera. I don't want to give it, I don't want to give Samsung no credit, but overall, we're getting pretty close performance in launch speeds of the cameras. With Apple, once I opened it that first time, now it's opening faster. So overall, I think taking photos and camera launch speeds are going to be quite similar, but the versatility of the zooming is still king on the Samsung with the features as well. Whereas the iPhone is really going to be a stronghold in the video department, really giving you incredibly easy to take and high quality videos, not only in social media, but just really not knowing how to use a camera. It's like a camcorder type quality. Plus, you got some pro features if you want to take it to that level. All right, and the final scores are in with the iPhone 14 Pro getting a 2574 on that single core in Geekbench 6, 6417 on multi. Now 2012 on the S23 Ultra and 5204 multi. Now, in reality, these scores don't mean much, but I still include them because, they are benchmarks. Let's go over here to Wildlife Extreme. We'll run that here. And I do expect the iPhone to lose out here in this area. Did you see that chop? That was a little weird on the iPhone. But I do expect the S23 Ultra to win this test. The S23 Ultra should have faster frame rates. So we'll see. I'll be right back when they are done with 3D Mark. And so our final results are in with the Samsung, as expected, winning it out here in the 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme. The iPhone showing why you probably don't want to update to iOS 17, battery dropping a lot more than it would on a regular version, whereas the battery stayed the same on the non-beta version of One UI, but it's the frame rates. These frame rates aren't very different from when I did this test on the 14 Pro Max on the 16. They're pretty much the same. The Samsung faster in the 3D Mark test. It's been this way since I got the S23 Ultra, so don't expect this to be because of iOS 17. Which you could see scores better than 89% of devices, better than 82% of devices. So taking it back over here to Amazon, iPhone 14 Pro, do you want to pay more for a phone that's smaller and in some cases slower? It really depends on the ecosystem you want to be in. But if you're being objective here, you're paying a couple $100 less in some cases, especially if you up the storage. And Samsung's throwing deals with this phone left and right, giving you more storage for the same price. I think the Samsung is the better pick here. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you found this video entertaining, informing, helpful, also give it a thumbs up. And let me know your experiences. If you have either one of these phones, I'd love to talk to you about this down below. I'll catch you on the next one. Nick here. Be sure to be well. And peace.